identity is a way to present ourselves to the world because we have all this urge of defining oneself. I believe that comes from the fact that we're human beings and we need to explain the world that surrounds us. And by explaining the world that surrounds us, we ourselves have to explain ourselves to the world. And for me, identity is me trying to define the world, to define myself for the world to understand who I am. I am a Swiss Chilean and I moved to different countries. The first country was Indonesia, but for me, my identity wasn't questioned because we had so many expats that had the same experience. They came from all over the world, so I was the Swiss girl and nobody questioned it. So I guess my identity was questioned the first time I came back to Switzerland, because suddenly this identity was being questioned. What I found as well coming to Switzerland that was very strong, and the most striking thing is that for me then was the fact that I felt very early on sexualized coming to Switzerland. Because I'm a Latina, I'm supposed to be very sensual with men. So that's something that people would have on me, which for the record I thought was I was 13 years old and a Christian household, so needless to say that it was not the case, and that for me it was such a cultural shock because in South America when I left it was not like this at all. The relationship between men and women wasn't like that. Yeah, but then funnily enough is what happens is that by reaction, by desexualization, you react where you're like, you know what, well then, okay, I'm a Latina because I'm not a Swiss. Apparently.
Yeah. But now would you say that you're more comfortable with your Swiss identity?
Completely. I had my peace with it as well, also because I lived so long there and I did like my high school there. So I would always surround myself with foreigners as well that had the same kind of experiences, and that for me was crucial to speak about these things. For so long one would try to define itself by nationality or ethnicity, and so me being like bicultural background and growing up in several countries, this box isn't so defined. And so how do I do that? How do I solve the problem of me having to define myself to the people? Because people need to put a label on you to explain themselves, like explain you to themselves. And so how do I do that? Well, I figured that actually it's by choosing that my background and my ethnicity or my nationality is more about the places I've been to and the places that felt like home and that formed me and shaped me in a certain moment in my life. I was thinking how crazy the world will give us this lie that we eat up so easily, telling us that our identity is not good enough. And that for me is the reason why it's so important that identity is being talked about. Because once we know our identity, everything else switches. We won't accept certain things. It will teach us to put boundaries, will teach us a lot of things in life. And that for me is why I would tell the person that would watch this to get to know her or his identity and let herself define herself and let nobody else define herself, and then she may or he know that they are beautifully and wonderfully made. They're perfect the way they were made, and that never give this society the opportunity of diminishing who they are or their worth. Never letting other people that power over them, because it's a huge power to give up. And so they are the captain of their ship.